Welcome to Boring Money, Rich Life. I'm your host, Joy Hicks, and today we're going to talk about my financial plan. So, in my last video, I went through just a portion of my financial plan, and that was just talking about like what I personally need in this current situation in order to be able to retire comfortably. So, if you want a little bit more context, be sure to watch that video. And in this one, I'm going to go through the actual different sections. Now, this is my personal financial plan. Like, I actually paid a financial planner to go through all of my finances, ask me different questions, and come up with this specific plan for me. So, if you personally want your own financial plan, definitely contact a financial advisor. I am not a financial advisor. But I felt like it would still be helpful for people who have never worked with a financial planner before to kind of understand what you might actually get from a financial plan. And again, this is just me on my own journey of building my rich life. So I felt like this was really important for me to do because I think it's nice having an extra set of eyes where somebody could come in and say, hey, you're telling me this is your long-term goal, but you're doing this and this is kind of hindering you from getting there. So that was the whole point of me personally reaching out to a financial advisor. So yeah, I have it here and we're just kind of going to go through the different sections. This is not super long. I will say the company that I went with, they're not meant to be somebody that you have on payroll like every month or anything like that. Like, I don't really need that level of financial planning at this time. So this was kind of like a one-time service. Like, I paid a specific fee. We met maybe 2 to 3 times before I finally got this plan. And then we're going to have one more meeting. And then it's kind of up to me to implement these different steps. And then I can meet up with her like once a year just to kind of reevaluate, see where I am, see if there's any changes in income. And I can always kind of change it and modify it. But I don't really need, somebody who I meet with like once a month or anything like that right now. And I will say, before I started working with this financial planner, I did have another person reach out to me who offered that type of service as well. And I will say, I was kind of hesitant with working with the first person because I felt like they more so just wanted to sell me stuff because it was kind of very pushy. Like, I'm the type of person, I'm pretty private. So I'm actually not the type of person who like will tell everybody my business. Like, for learning purposes, sure, but just for the sake of saying stuff, that's not really my vibe. And so I felt like that person was very pushy. Like, I met with them one time and it was more of just like a friendly get to know you type of meeting. And then of course they were letting me know about their services, and I told them, if I'm interested, I'll follow up. But the one thing that I did not like is this person would like check in with me. And I kind of felt pressured because I'm like, if I want your service, then I'm gonna reach out to you because I had a business before and I was never the type of person who would like hinder my clients. Like, I knew the product that I had was good. So I'm like, when they're ready, they're gonna come to me. So I'm the type of person, I don't like to be pressured to do stuff, especially when it comes to my money, because money is very personal. I always say money is very psychological. We have a relationship with our money, and you don't always want to invite somebody into that you don't know very well. So I felt like I just felt really pressured with that person. I did allow them to give me kind of like a rundown of what they do, and I felt like it was more just them trying to sell me different products than it was them actually trying to help me build wealth. So this was probably maybe a year difference from getting this plan today from when I actually met with that other person. So this is kind of like a big step for me in my money journey. So I'm actually very happy that I'm at least here. I felt very comfortable with the planner that I worked with this time, because I just felt like she was very down to earth. I was able to be very honest with her about my money habits and my spending habits. And I just like the fact that with them, they kind of give you a plan, but they let you know up front. Like it's up to you to implement the steps. They're not here to sell you a product besides the actual financial plan. They're not just selling you these random insurance policies that you might not need. They're just going to give you the plan. And again, you have to work your plan. So, getting into it, the first step in the financial plan, it goes through like my net worth and then it goes through like my cash flow. So in order for her to get my net worth, I had to let her know all of the different like retirements that I have, my income. Um, I do own a home. So all those different things they'll look at. And I feel like that's pretty standard across the board. So if in the future you decide to work with a financial planner, they're definitely going to want to know your income, and that will help them calculate your net worth. They'll also ask you like about assets and things like that, of course. And then for me, I actually want to move from Colorado, although I did recently buy a home. I am just, I'm born and raised in Colorado and I really want to change. So I had her run two different cash flow scenarios. So one if I stay in Colorado, and then another moving to a different state. And the state that I'm looking at, it's a lot less than Colorado. Like there are some things price wise that are comparable, but I feel like Colorado is so expensive for no reason. Like there's not much to do here but hike, but it is very pricey. So if I were to stay in Colorado, there's two different things in the cash flow section. So she was saying, in order for me to like break even, meaning like to cover my historical spending, to get on track with my current, or to continue my current retirement contributions because I'm contributing like 6% of my income, and to pay taxes, then I would need to make like around 136,000 per year. So kind of like increasing my income a little bit more. But then she was saying that if I want to be on track to actually retire at the age of 53 in the state of Colorado, my income would actually need to be 189,000 per year. And she was saying if I wanted to retire by 65 in the state of Colorado, then my income would need to be 143,000 per year. And in the other state that I'm looking at, let's say I keep my current contributions for retirement, so keep it at 6%, and then to cover my historical spending. So, like, that just means if I continue to spend the way that I spend now, and then to pay all of my taxes, then it's a little less. I would need to make 132,000 per year. So, not super far off. Um, but if I wanted to retire in that state at the age of 53, I would need to earn about 175,000 per year. Or if I wanted to retire in that state by 65, then I would need to make 130,000 per year. And like I said, they're not super far off, but the other state is a little bit cheaper. So that's one thing about working with a financial planner. They do all of these numbers for you. I didn't have to calculate any of these things. So that's the first part of the plan, is just going through your net worth and then also your cash flow, because all of it's kind of based off when you're looking to retire and then how much you're going to need to retire. Another good thing about working with them is they set me up with this program called Monarch Money. And none of this is sponsored. Again, this is literally my life, like what I just had to do. So with that program, it tracks all of your spending. And so she was saying for like action items, I would want to continue to track my spending with them because I'm trying to decrease how much money that I spend. So she wants me to really get on top of my spending, kind of pull back on a few things so that way I'm not just spending all of that money, because the goal is to be able to contribute more money to my retirement. So definitely, she wants me to kind of decrease some of that. Now, the next section is all about like my next priorities. So I told her kind of like what I have in savings right now. And she really wants me to have 6 months worth of money in an emergency fund. And I think that makes sense because I work in technology, and it is very volatile right now. There's so many layoffs that have been happening since 2023. Now, here we are in 2025 with all of the federal layoffs happening. So she was just saying that she would like to see me have at least $52,700 in savings as an emergency fund. So for her, she was saying that's kind of like my next goal, which is kind of interesting because I let her know that I'm getting into investing and all of these things. And what she would really like me to do is utilize my high yield savings a little bit more. So instead of putting all of that money into investing right now, she wants me to get up my total savings and then start investing. So she was like, before I really kind of focus on that, to really build up my emergency fund just in case something were to happen, I at least have 6 months worth of money to make sure that I'm good. And, God forbid, I don't want to get laid off or anything, but just in case. And the good thing about the high yield savings, I definitely feel like it's worth it because they do give you a pretty good return with those types of accounts. So, although it is saving your money, you're still getting a good dividend back. So, any money that I put in there, it's going to earn more money than it would in a traditional savings account. So, I'm kind of on board with that because I'm not losing anything by having my money in a high yield savings account. And then once that's done, I can start moving towards like getting more into the stock market and all of those things. And then the next part of the plan, she talks about my daughter and kind of like investing for college and things like that. So I do have some money set aside for her to go to college. And so the goal now is to figure out a way to have her money grow. So the plan for her is to kind of invest some of her money in like a 529. At some point, I will make a video about 529 accounts because I'm doing a lot of research on those as well. So a 529, it's like a college investing account that you can put towards a child's future college expenses. So that's going to be next on my list. That's one of like my next action steps is to figure out like what platform I want to use, how much should go into it. But once I get there, I'll definitely make a video about that as well because you can actually kind of roll those over. So let's say like your child doesn't go to college, you can actually move that money over. You don't lose the money. So I'll definitely talk about that later in the future, but that's on my plan. And then in my last video, I told you guys already about the retirement section. So if you want to watch that, definitely go to my other video where I break that down. But the cash flow section that I talked about at the beginning is really all geared towards me saving up for retirement in the future. And then the last bit of the financial plan is kind of like estate planning. So she was just letting me know, like, as a mom, as a homeowner, I definitely want to have like a durable power of attorney. I want to have a healthcare power of attorney, a living will, a last will and testament, and then a living and revocable trust. So, like I said, my financial plan I feel like is pretty simple. I know there's people who have like a lot more assets and they might need a lot more like interaction with a financial planner. This one, I would say, like, if you're a beginner, you're just looking to kind of get on track with your finances, you're trying to figure out what your next step is going to be in regards to like retirement savings and investing and all these different things. I would say something like this might be helpful for you. There's plenty of different financial advisors. Some people prefer to meet with somebody in person. Me personally, I met with her over Zoom, and I felt like that was fine because I don't think I need like an intensive plan at this time, just based off like these things. Like right now, really, I just need to kind of get my emergency fund together, start doing my retirement, maxing out my retirement, and then starting to invest. So this is my plan. And I would say I'm pretty happy with it for now, just as an initial step. And like I said, every year I do kind of plan to at least meet with her and just make sure everything still makes sense or just get an idea of where I might need to pivot and change. So, as always, what is one boring thing that you can do today to start fueling your rich life? Again, I'm your host, Joy Hicks. Thank you for watching and be sure to subscribe.